Stay tuned to the second half of the video where we dive into the tariffs and how and if and why it affects or could affect sports cards. Cooper Flag Super Fractor 1 of 1 sells for $85,000. Flag's 2024 Topps Chrome McDonald's 1 Super Fractor. Put a picture of it on the screen. It is a cool look. That's a cool looking card. A half court offense. I don't know. Retro feel, a diner feel, even though it's McDonald's. Very cool looking card. His 2 weeks ago, let's see, that price destroys the previous high for any flag card, which was set less than 2 weeks ago by a different Superfractor from the same set, not to be confusing, and that sold for just under $29,000. Speaking of Cooper Flag, I was expecting to talk up Cooper Flag in this video. He played insane. He played great. I think at that time he had 25 points, 8 rebounds, I think 3 blocks. And Duke is up by 7 with a minute and a half left. They're leading the majority of the second half by 9 or 10, and they fall apart. And that's what Houston's known for: smothering defense, creating chaos. Houston put up 70 points, which is rare for them, and Houston beats Duke. Cooper Flag had a chance with, 7 seconds, 6 seconds to hit a shot. It was a, 10-foot, 8-foot jumper, pretty much open. He's taller than the other guy, and it just hit short. And he has a chance to be a hero there. He played great game, but kind of fell apart at the end. And Duke goes on to lose in the Final Four. Houston moves on. They'll play Monday night. And Florida, I'm shooting this Sunday. I'll release it Monday. Every Monday I come out with a video just like this. If you enjoy it, hit the like button. Subscribe if you have not. Florida takes care of business. They were trailing versus Auburn, 8 or 9 points going into halftime. They're down 8. They make a good comeback. They end up winning by 6. Florida's known for putting up a lot of points. Houston's known for a stifling defense. It should make for a great matchup Monday night, which is tonight if you're watching this as the video release. Yahoo! Jump into our next story. We know that the Paul Skeens 1 of 1 auto patch debut card, it sold for $1.1 million. It was bought by Dick's Sporting Goods. An 11-year-old kid pulled the card, just trying to lay out all the facts. And Yahoo yesterday, or I guess Saturday, came out with a story, 3 takeaways from the sale of the card. And I'll go over their 3 quickly. An increased institutional investment. It wasn't just the Skeens card that sold for $1 million, which has its headquarters outside of Pittsburgh. Sales brought plenty of conversation, especially because it didn't land in the hands of collectors or an individual. Instead, a company, a $13 billion company, locked up the card. And this can encourage other corporations to invest in cards. Their second takeaway was cards are a public spectacle. They're now looked at. They don't say this, but the way I take it is the way a nice car, piece of history artifact, artwork, and now you're seeing that celebrities and other people are buying these cards, and now it's a PR move pretty much for Dick's Sporting Goods. And finally, the increased value on modern baseball cards. They note that this card, the Skeens card, sold for $1 million, as well as Shohei Ohtani, that within a week or two, his first card hit for over $1 million. My curiosity is, this is there's not really a precedent for this. Precedent. I mean, it's just not really and so in 10 years, 20 years, are these cards still these $1 million cards, or have they lost value? I'm very curious to see in a decade or two where the prices on these cards and the demand for them lie. Real quick, we'll take a look at the standings. The Yankees are 6-2 in the early MLB, but the best standing in the American League so far is the Texas Rangers at 7-2. Their lineup is pretty impressive. The A's playing in Sacramento. They started very poorly, but they're now 4-5, and then move into the National League. The best records come from the National League West. First, we'll look at the National League East. The Phillies are 6-2, the Mets 6-3, and the Braves 1-8. I think they started 0-7, which is just crazy coming from a team with such high expectations. The Cubs 7-4, the Pirates sitting 2-7 at the bottom of the National League Central. And finally, in the National League West, Dodgers 9-1 as of me recording this on Sunday. The Giants are 7-1 in second place. No one expected the Giants to go start this hot. The Padres 7-2. Imagine being 7-2 and you're third in the division, and the lonely Rockies have 1 win at 1-7.
I saw this card while editing the video, and I think it's safe to say she's playing the wrong sport.
The thumbnail, I decided to put this Jaden Daniels card because I found it interesting. why the hell is any right now? Prism came out after the season, which is ridiculous, and you get the Prism rookie card after Jaden Daniels has already performed. So there's only so much data on this thing, but you can see several sales above $800, several not a lot, and it just keeps going down and down and down, and then you start seeing it being in February this card's selling for $200, and then later in February it's selling for $177, and as of today it's sitting closer to about 140, 130, 125. Last week we looked at Jalen Hurts, who just won a Super Bowl. He's been to a Super Bowl, plays on one of the best teams in the NFL. And his rookie card right now in a PSA 10, the same thing, Prism, which is like the prestige, the standard, is selling for $60. In a PSA 9, it's $16. So why, buying this Jaden Daniel card at 120, even if he ends up winning a Super Bowl performance, it's hype. It's new. This card has nowhere to go but down if we compare it to the Jalen Hurts. If you have another reason, comment below. But everything tells me when you look at the Jaden Hurts card, who had the hype, who's flashy, who's a good story, he's a leader, very collectible in a big market in Philadelphia, and his rookie card's $60, while this Jaden Daniels card is selling at 123. And we've seen nothing but it fall, and you'll see it trickle down until it hits its true price going into next season, which I'd assume is under $100. Maybe we'll follow this story on Jaden Daniels. I told you last week, and after this story we'll get to the tariffs, but I told you last week we'd go over the NFL draft. It's in a couple weeks, maybe next Monday we'll take even a deeper dive, but Cam Moore is clearly been the quarterback thrown around the most. He'll be the first quarterback taken. Whether or not he'll be the number one overall pick, I'm unsure. The guy I think that could end up being pretty collectible next year that's not a quarterback, which is rare, by the way, is Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter has a lot of potential to be marketable. I mean, he really might be very, very marketable depending on if he's used on both sides of the ball, but he just has that swagger, that flash. Abdul Carter's an edge. He'll go in the top 5, probably the top 3. He's not going to be terribly collectible. The first receiver off the board, I think his name's Will Johnson is the cornerback. Where's the first receiver? They haven't gone a lot further. Matthew Golden's the second receiver, so I must have skipped over him, I'd assume. Yeah, I'm going to say his first name wrong. Teodoro McMillan. And I don't watch a ton of college football, but I'm in 2 dynasty leagues. I love the NFL draft. These players matter to me before those dynasty leagues. Ashton Jeanty is someone I am following because I'm a huge Raider fan. I have Raider season tickets, which is a dream, something that, anyways, I hope we get Jeanty. It would be exciting. You add him to Bowers. All the guys' names I just mentioned will be the big hits going into the draft. And of course, Shedeur Sanders, who keeps, who knows where he'll go. That's a story to follow. I think on where offshore you can draft. In Vegas, you cannot, offshore you could bet on the draft. Here in Vegas, I don't think they offer it. I think right now he's 7.5. He's slated to go either 7.5 or 8.5 on, according to the book, the offshore book. So that'll be another story to follow. Let's get into the tariffs finally. Let me make this. First, I was thinking tariffs would not affect cards in much any way at all. Cards are printed here in America, and the tariffs have to do with imports, exports, and business done inside the country. It doesn't matter. And so Topps, while their headquarters are in Manhattan, their manufacturing hub is in Pennsylvania. They also print some cards in Texas because Texas has some of the specialized equipment. Why? Well, because that's where Panini prints. Panini prints in Texas. They're based in Irving, Texas. They're an Italian company. However, their American headquarters and where all their American cards are printed right here in the States. So as long as you are based in the States, it does not affect tariffs. Tariffs do not affect us. However, the supplies we ship in from China would be like top loaders, and I don't know if it's China, maybe it's Taiwan. Overseas is where we get a lot of card supplies. So that'll be interesting. Some Pokemon is printed overseas, so that'll be interesting. But as far as it comes to sports cards, I'm going to put a post next to me by Brian Wells, Ship My Cards. A lot of it I kind of already went over in my own words or my own slant or view on things. But he says they've seen a few. If we jump to number 5 here, they've seen some issues with cards bought on eBay coming from Canada into America and them getting a bill later for the tariff. PSA has also, let's put up the PSA and then we'll hit COMC, but it says PSA posts this. Due to U.S. tariffs announced on Wednesday, April 2nd, we'll be temporarily pausing the acceptance of PSA grading submissions directly to U.S. facilities from customers located in all countries outside the U.S. Temporary pause. And this is something I think is a trend with these tariffs. I've seen it through this, making this video 3 or 4 times already, and imagine what companies outside of sports cards are doing. So here on number 7, tariffs will start causing many delays on costs and supplies. BCW is already changing many items, a 2 to 4 month backup on orders. We expect card supply, prices, and availability to become an issue. So that's where I'm getting that. If we go to COMC, update for customers in Canada, as you're likely already aware, U.S. President Trump announced yesterday a series of sweeping tariffs. If we scroll down with no term changes, we greatly value. Basically, COMC is lightly and gently saying we're now charging you a 25% increase. We didn't do it earlier on other things, but it's not sustainable for us anymore to cover that 25%. And so we're raising duty. As a result, COMC has no choice but to raise its fee on cross-border shipments from 5% to 30% effective immediately. No pause there. No, that they are having to raise their price. Finally, Simon Cards put out a video on Trump tariffs, and he lives in Canada. And basically, what he said is he's just taking a pause until we see what happens, until this blows over, until this is the craze of the beginning, and things will smooth out eventually. Hopefully, maybe never. Who the hell knows? You'd expect. Something I wanted to mention has nothing to do with sports cards is Nintendo, the day before the tariffs, came out with their Switch 2 release, and it comes out June 5th, and prices were already high. And then the day after the tariffs, well, guess what? They paused pre-releases because who knows? I don't know what they're going to do with the price. I think they're thinking the same thing. Let's pause, see what happens, let this take care of itself, and then we'll make our announcement again and start. We don't have to raise the price. Maybe they will have to raise the price. Who knows? It's interesting. There's tons of videos on the Nintendo Switch 2, tons of controversy right now on it. Anyways, next week, let's see. We'll go over more card news, more sports news. We'll take a look probably at the NBA playoff picture we're getting about there. I'm going to make some predictions on the Jason Tatum rookie card, what it's going to do over the next few months into the playoffs, through the playoffs. Celtics should have tons of success. And finally, I made an NBA, or I'm very close to finish with it, a video. It's a longer video. It's 40, 45 minutes. It's a documentary, I guess, on the NBA of 2001, everything from the offseason to USA basketball to the regular season playoffs finals. I think it's good. We'll find out shortly. Anyways, like the video if you enjoyed. Every Monday I put out a video just like this. This one ran a little bit longer, but there was just a lot to share. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.